Welcome to the Happier Life Project, the official podcast from the award-winning mental health and wellness app, My Possible Self. Hosted by broadcaster and journalist Gabby Sanderson.
Hello friends, and welcome back to the Happier Life Project, brought to you by My Possible Self, the mental health and wellness app, which is completely free to download. It's award-winning and designed to help you feel better, think better, and live better. I'm Gabby, and today's episode I'm flying solo, and I wanted to talk to you about things we're told that will make us feel happier that actually don't, and what actually does. Today's episode is one I think many of us will completely relate to, because we grow up absorbing a lot of cultural messages about happiness, what it looks like, where it comes from, and what we should chase. But when you look at the psychological research, which I've been doing, you realise something. Much of what we're taught about happiness is actually wrong. Not because people are necessarily lying to us, but because the human brain simply doesn't work the way society and culture assumes it does. So today we're unpacking 10 of the biggest, air quoting this, happiness myths, and replacing each one with what the science actually says. So with that in mind, ready to find a healthier, happier you? Let's get started. Myth number 1. Success equals happiness. We're taught that happiness is something we earn through achievement, but one of the most constant findings in wellbeing research is this: success does not reliably create happiness, but happiness reliably predicts success. A major meta-analysis reviewed over 200 studies and found that people who experience more positive emotion first tend to perform better at work, have stronger relationships, and even live longer. Why? Because positive emotion changes how the brain functions. Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory shows that when we feel good, our cognitive field widens. We become more creative, more flexible, more resilient. In other words, happiness fuels the behaviours that lead to success, not the other way around. But when we chase success as the source of happiness, we fall into the hedonic treadmill, the brain's tendency to adapt quickly to achievements and immediately raise the bar. What actually helps? Pursuing intrinsic goals, such as growth, meaning, and contribution, rather than extrinsic ones, such as status or image. Developing a psychological flexibility. Psychological flexibility is the ability to be present, open to experiences, and capable of adapting behaviour to align with personal values, even when experiencing difficult emotions or situations. It's a key predictor of well-being in ACT therapy. Focusing on process, not just outcomes. This is the core of flow research. And building emotional regulation skills so success feels sustainable, not draining. Success isn't the foundation of happiness. Happiness is the foundation of sustainable success. Myth number 2, being busy means I'm doing well. We live in a culture that glorifies busyness. We've talked about this a lot on this very podcast. But research shows that chronic busyness increases cortisol, reduces creativity, and weakens emotional regulation. Burnout, as defined by the World Health Organization, is not a personal failure. It's a response to chronic stress that hasn't been managed. So what actually helps? Rest as a skill, not as a reward. Boundaries that protect your cognitive bandwidth. Monotasking, which research shows improves focus and reduces overwhelm. Creating recovery rituals, small predictable ways to downshift your nervous system. A meaningful life isn't measured by how full your calendar is. Myth number 3. I'll be happy when... This is the myth of arrival fallacy, a term coined by Tal Ben-Shahar. It's the belief that happiness lives in the future, after the next milestone, the next achievement, the next version of ourselves. But humans are notoriously bad at predicting what will make us happy. This is called effective forecasting error. We overstimulate the emotional impact of big events and underestimate the power of positive daily habits. Psychologically, this happens because of impact bias. We assume future emotions will be more intense and longer lasting than they actually are. What actually helps? Practicing mindfulness, which reduces the brain's tendency to time travel into the future. Building micro joys into daily life, small, reliable sources of positive emotion. Setting goals that enrich the process, not just the outcome. Happiness isn't waiting for you in the future. It's built in the present. Myth number 4. A relationship will complete me. Romantic relationships can be deeply fulfilling, but they are not emotional rescue missions. Attachment theory shows that healthy relationships are built on secure attachment, not dependency. And research from the University of Toronto found that people who fear being single often settle for less satisfying relationships, which ironically makes them less happy. The "you complete me" narrative sounds romantic, but psychologically, it's a recipe for instability. When your emotional well-being depends on another person's behaviour, you lose autonomy. And autonomy is a core psychological need. So what actually helps? Developing emotional independence. The ability to regulate your own feelings. Building secure attachment through communication, boundaries, and consistency. Choosing relationships that align with your values, not your fears. A partner can add to your happiness, but they cannot be the foundation of it. Myth number 5. More money will make me happier. Money matters, of course it does, especially for safety, stability, and reducing stress. But beyond a certain point, the emotional return diminishes. There's a famous study which found that emotional well-being plateaus once basic needs are met. Later, research by Matthew Killingsworth suggested happiness continues to rise with income, but only modestly, and for most people who already enjoy their lives. In other words, money amplifies your emotional baseline, but it doesn't transform it. If you're lonely, stressed, or burnt out, more money won't fix that. If you're connected, purposeful, and emotionally regulated, money can enhance that. I have first-hand experience of this myself, being in India, working at this school, which featured on another podcast episode. The people there were so kind and would give you the shirt off their back, and they had no money whatsoever. But they seemed so much happier than a lot of people in the UK right now. Why? Because they're so connected with each other, because they have purpose, because they have community. And it really made me realise we don't need as much as we're made to think we need. So what actually helps? Using money to reduce stress, not increase lifestyle pressure. Spending money in ways that support autonomy, competence, and connection, the 3 psychological needs in the self-determination theory. Avoiding social comparison, which research shows is one of the biggest drains on financial well-being. Money is a tool. Its impact depends on the emotional system it lands in. Myth number 6. Other people know what's best for me. Humans are social creatures. We're wired for belonging. And with that comes the pressure to conform. But self-determination theory shows that autonomy is one of the 3 core psychological needs for well-being. When we live according to others' expectations, we may gain approval, but we lose authenticity. And authenticity is strongly linked to life satisfaction, according to research by Kernis and Goldman. What actually helps? Making decisions aligned with your values, not external pressure. Practicing interoception, often called the hidden sense, tuning into your internal signals. Allowing yourself to evolve, even if it disrupts old narratives. You're the one who has to live your life. Therefore, your voice matters the most. Myth number 7. If I look better, I'll feel better. Okay, we're surrounded by messages that equate appearance equals worth. But appearance-based self-esteem is one of the most fragile forms of self-esteem. Body image dissatisfaction is strongly linked to anxiety and depression. And social comparison, a concept introduced first by Leon Festinger, is one of the biggest drivers of body dissatisfaction. So what actually helps? Practicing body neutrality, shifting focus from appearance to function. Moving your body for mood regulation, not aesthetics. Reducing exposure to unrealistic media, which research shows improves body dissatisfaction. Reducing exposure to unrealistic media, which research shows accelerates body dissatisfaction. Practicing self-compassion, which reduces shame and increases resilience. Confidence grows, my friend, from self-respect, not perfection. And we're on to myth number 8. Negative emotions means something is wrong. We often treat negative emotions as problems to eliminate. But emotions are information, not danger. Lisa Feldman Barrett's research shows that emotions are constructed experiences shaped by context, meaning, and past learning. And ACT therapy teaches us that resisting emotions often intensifies them, a phenomenon called experiential avoidance. So, what actually helps? Allowing emotions to rise and fall naturally. Naming feelings, which reduces their intensity, a process called affect labelling. Self-compassion, which activates the brain's soothing system. Understanding that discomfort is part of growth, not a sign of failure. You can feel uncomfortable emotions and still be completely okay. Myth 9. I have to do everything alone. Independence is valued, but hyper-independence is often a trauma response or a learned survival strategy. The Harvard study of adult development, the longest study on happiness ever conducted, found that the number one predictor of well-being is the quality of our relationships. Not achievement, not wealth, not status. Relationships. What actually helps? Asking for support, which strengthens connection. Building reciprocal relationships, not one-sided ones. Allowing yourself to be seen, which reduces shame. Practicing co-regulation, calming your nervous system through safe connection. I cannot stress this enough. We're wired for connection, and we heal in community. And we're at myth number 10. Happiness is a constant state. This might be the most damaging myth of all. Happiness is not a permanent mood. It's a fluctuating experience. Psychologist Paul Gilbert explains that humans have 3 emotional regulation systems: threat, drive, and soothing. Most of us spend too much time in threat and drive, and not enough time in soothing. What actually helps? Accepting emotional ebbs and flows. Building resilience through self-compassion and emotional regulation. Strengthening the soothing system through rest, connection, and mindfulness. Creating a life with meaning, not just pleasure. Happiness is not about feeling good all the time. It's about feeling grounded, supported, and connected, even when things are hard. So there you have it. 10 things we're told that make us happier, that usually don't. Plus, lots of things that we can actually do to help us feel that little bit happier, backed by decades of psychological research. If there's one message I want you to take away from this episode, it's this. Happiness isn't something you have to chase. It's something you cultivate. And if you'd like support on that journey, my friend, the My Possible Self app is jam-packed full of tools, exercises, and evidence-based techniques to help you feel more balanced and more connected to yourself. If this episode resonated with you, please do share it with somebody who you think might need to hear it today. If you are suffering with your mental health, there is a crisis button on the My Possible Self app, which will signpost you to the correct information for immediate expert advice. Those of you who are listening on one of the podcast platforms, the My Possible Self app is completely free to download. You can access all of the content, so you don't need to worry about it costing you anything. If you found this episode helpful, please do subscribe and leave a review and share it with your friends. And to find and follow us on social media, we are most active on Instagram, and you can find us at My Possible Self. And I've been at Radio Gabby. Until the next one, do take care. Bye for now.